Okay.
And there. Okay, so now we have audio there.
I think if we just had a chat window, we'd be...
Where the hell's the chat window?
I don't know. There it is.
Why is nothing right today?
Boy, there's some potential answers to that.
Well, like setting up a new piece of equipment, I expect to have a couple of hiccups, but we're having hiccups that I don't expect to have with them. Good morning, everybody. Let's do this. That should have everything working correctly now.
I think we have everything working correctly. All right. Yes. Awesome. We have video. We have sound. We've got...
Yes. I wish I could move that to the top so that I didn't have to scroll down to find it, but we've got it. All right. Good morning.
Good morning indeed.
We've got this sexy new microphone on the table, and it's a different new microphone. I'm a little vexed that I had to buy the other new microphone and then set all this up, but I needed to make sure that we had something that worked just in case it turned out that I'm stupid and can't work with this other new equipment.
Right.
So, good morning.
How is it that you have the biggest desk of anybody I've ever met ever, and you still manage to cover it up with all this shit? Granted, some of that shit is whiskey and pictures of your wife and whatever, so fair enough, but still.
Bacon-flavored cotton candy.
Which... Have you tried that yet?
No.
Do you intend to?
Not at all.
Are you just going to sit there until the sugar, like, collapses back down into actual sugar?
Look at it. It basically already has. But it's hilarious.
All right. Where are we?
So
I was gonna say hello to some people. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. We have Steve first in the chat. We've got habeas corpses, or is that habeas corpse?
I don't know. Do you or do you not work for the Obama administration?
Right.
All these Navy corpsmen.
Right. It'd be one thing if he said it once, but yeah, it'd be one thing if he said it once. But look, never mind.
New toy is new toys.
Yeah, new toy is new toy. Right. Then there's other Steve, Sean Stryker, PITTDANNY, Jamie Wilbanks, Scrimshaw Rose, hello, Megan Anderson, Wilbanks, Thomas Waller. Yeah, this is just a shit show. I can't understand why any media corporation would sacrifice their reputation to run cover for someone as inconsequential as Hunter. Like, why not feed him to the wolves?
And we're gonna talk about
that's actually a good question. But that's because the media corporations are, well, media corporations.
Correct.
Yeah. Let's see. Danielle from the TPS report. Good morning. Pancho Ramirez. That's a great name, man. And I think we've... Oh, your mom is here. Good morning, Ma. And the mic is huge like Nancy Pelosi's mommy milkers. Wow.
Ouch.
Wow. Okay. Oh, and PITTDANNY says, what reputation? Oh, no, dude, they have a reputation. It's a reputation of being... fake news.
So here's what we've got.
Rim shot also on Hunter's cell phone.
Yeah, look, there you go.
Okay.
In fact, let's do it this way. 4chan is at it again. So apparently, we have this from the New York Post.
Well, let's
which
back
is
up.
just
let's set it up.
Poetic justice.
4chan evil 4chan.
Evil 4chan.
Weaponized autism 4chan. Like, they hacked his iCloud account, as I understand it. That's how they got into his phone.
So, before we get too far down what it means that they have hacked his iCloud account, I want you to understand something about 4chan and what we mean when we talk about weaponized autism. I gotta move this mic just a little bit because it's should be highly directional. So 4chan is a message board. It's a message board that's haunted by a certain flavor of character, we'll say. And
trolls. It's where trolls get together and pat other trolls on the back.
It's where very high-level trolls get together and pat each other on the back. And when I say high-level trolls, I mean men with very serious talents. 4chan has run some serious operations. That some of them were just
like, this is the white
hilarious.
Supremacy symbol now.
Right. That was a troll. That was a gag by 4chan.
And it stuck.
Another one they ran is a bunch of 4chan guys went around to college campuses and hung signs. Basically, it was a regular sheet of printer paper, just a plain white piece of paper with the words in large black letters printed, "It's okay to be white." Right. And like in that case, for example, 4chan commenters had said, look, if we do this, if we hang these pieces of paper up that say it's okay to be white, Steve says roll off the high frequency sum. Okay.
After the show.
Yeah. We'll worry about that later. But I do need feedback like that, Steve, and we'll talk later.
Knowing that we're too sharp is good to know, but thanks.
Anyway, 4chan knew ahead of time, and this is why they hung the signs that said it's okay to be white, that it would be treated by the media as this big conspiracy about white supremacy and everything, and they went out of their way to use that phrase in particular because it's so innocuous. It's so passive. It's okay to be white. Not being white is better, not being white is extra good, it's not okay to be other than white.
You mean
it's
like
okay to be a white person.
You mean don't have white pride?
Right.
You mean like black pride?
Right.
Oh, did I say that out loud? Anyhow, so
Viva la raza? What?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So, Stryker says the Pfizer CEO allegedly pledging to rebuild Georgia Guidestones. I'm gonna have to read about that. Pfizer and GA Stones. So, the 4chan, among the things they've done, there's the okay to be white. There's the white supremacy sign, white power sign, whatever. They also have run several operations where you had like a criminal, a murderer, a child molester, a pedophile, right? Serious criminals who the police were having trouble identifying, and 4chan was able to identify them and bring them in. One notorious incident during the Battle of Berkeley, during the original Trump presidential campaign, there were all those massive arson riots around colleges where anytime a conservative speaker tried to speak to a crowd at the invitation, right? Remember, we're talking about organizations at the college were hiring speakers to come out for their conservative organizations, and Biden Democrats, their operatives would go and set fires to colleges in California, throwing Molotov cocktails, throwing incendiary devices. And there was one particular example where this guy was just clocking people in the head with a bike lock, and 4chan identified him. 4chan examined video from the incidences, photographs from the incidences, and identified the culprit. Tracked him down. He turned out to be a professor. The evidence that 4chan collected was not sufficient to convict somebody, but it was sufficient for the police to begin an investigation, which did prove that this professor was in fact the bike lock marauder, who was then locked up for who was then locked up for his crimes. Sean Stryker says bike lock guy off cheekbones. What they did, there were some facial structure anomalies that they used, some basic facial recognition software, backpacks, stuff like that. And so I say all this to say that 4chan is populated by people who will find you.
And Scott Adams said in one of his streams, be like, you don't want the nerds to get a hold of your stuff.
Exactly.
Because they will fuck your shit up if they get a hold of your stuff.
And that's a direct quote.
That is, no, but not exactly, but not exactly, but close enough. And I feel like we had Dan Burks join us and somebody else. I was going to say hello, Biscuits and Gravy, good morning, and James Royster. So yeah, hello to all the people. And if we missed you, sorry. Yell at us. It's fine. So anyhow, 4chan and their weaponized autism somehow got inside Hunter Biden's iPhone and...
Yeah, 4chan strikes again.
Hello?
The buttons don't want to cooperate today. I'm probably due for a reboot after all the work that I've been doing. Anyway, Hunter Biden's laptop had contacts for Google execs, U.S. officials for China policy.
Here's the deal. Why are we talking about the laptop now? Like, the laptop is actually old news for some of us. Oh, wait a minute. I have a question. Can we post about Hunter's phone being hacked on Twitter yet?
So, what was actually hacked is the iCloud backup of Hunter's iPhone, which was stored on the laptop.
Oh, wait, so can we talk about the laptop on Twitter now?
Well, we are currently. We are live on Twitter having this conversation with, by the way, the New York Post article.
Wait a minute. Boy, there's some irony. Oh, wait a minute. It's probably okay because Joe Biden's not running for anything this year. So
is it irony or poetic justice?
It's neither one of those. It is neither one of those because, look, and this is the kind of thing that's been said, and it's obvious. Okay, anybody with half a brain knows and understands the things that I'm about to say. But if, say, I don't know, Eric Trump had a tenth of this kind of dirt on him, that would be front page news, and rightly so.
And it would have been another impeachment. Guaranteed. Almost instantaneous.
But the point is, well, yes. But the point is, obviously there's a double standard. This would have been front page news, and it would have somehow been tied back to Donald Trump. Somehow, Eric Trump was peddling his father's influence. Which, funny that, before Trump ran for office, he'd never been a politician before, where it seems as though Hunter got real good at selling daddy's influence while he was vice president.
Hunter got so good at selling daddy's influence that, according to the Post, among the names and personal cell phone numbers of the dozens of government officials and federal employees found in the infamous laptop Hunter Biden abandoned at a Delaware computer repair shop in April 2019, John Kerry and Max Baucus, who served as Secretary of State and U.S. Ambassador to China, respectively, during the Biden vice presidency. The Post reached Kerry's answering machine when it called the number listed in the laptop. Baucus had a Chinese phone number listed, and the Post was unable to reach him as well.
Morning, JDF. Guys, be like JDF. Send us money.
Stryker mentions Pedo Pete. We're actually not going to get to that because I think there's so much more important stuff here going on here. I'm going to touch it for just a second. Among the data that's being recovered here is our text messages which appear to be text messages between Hunter and prostitutes arguing about the amount of crack cocaine that is contained in the bag that he's trading for sexual favors.
Oh, no, there's videos of that. There's text messages where they're arguing about whether or not he can have Asian prostitutes. There's so much dirty shit in this.
Yes, and there are arguments about his particular predilections. Apparently there's some, we say, appreciations of the pudding people amid these documents. And guys, I want you to slow down and don't get distracted by that crap, because what really matters here is it looks like we have evidence now that Hunter conducts business under his father's name with his father's endorsement and support.
Yeah,
so
just
Hunter
with an
basically
alias.
works as a proxy for Joe Biden to conduct serious criminal activity, amid which is included Joe Biden illegally selling oil to China, right? And we talked about this. We've touched on this the other day, but it's not just that Biden sold gas to China, sold our oil to China. It's that it was a crime for him to do it, right? The strategic oil reserve is not supposed to be accessed or drained except in the case of an emergency, in order to alleviate an emergency. Now,
And correct
by the
me if
very
I'm
nature
wrong,
of, go ahead.
U.S. military runs largely off diesel.
That is correct. Largely
So
off
that's what-
JP8 we do run off some MoGas for some smaller vehicles, but primarily it's basically jet fuel that goes into armored vehicles.
Okay, so if there's a strategic petroleum reserve, it might not be for civilian use at all.
Correct.
Just a thought, just a really super spooky thought as we give away our army's gasoline to the Chinese.
So,
but
yeah.
that couldn't Oh, excuse me, not
China-
giveaway,
Sell
to the Chinese.
He sold our oil to the Chinese. And to be very clear about the threat here, at a time when China is the largest and most serious legitimate threat to U.S. national security. So remember, Ukraine and Russia, there are no good guys there. And we shouldn't even be concerned about that. Let it burn. They don't deserve our money. We've been trying to help Ukraine for years, and Ukraine
Has managed to
wants
be more corrupt than us.
They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to have all the protection of being a NATO member state without paying the freight. Screw you. Honey, if you wanted fries, you should have ordered fries.
Well, remember when Putin said, "Okay, maybe it's time I quit acting like a total shit. Maybe you know what? Maybe I'll just join NATO and we'll figure out a new alliance to push the world forward." Remember that? Remember Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yeah. So,
And look, I'm not saying it would be good if Putin had joined NATO, but let's just roll the clocks back a decade or so, and we're looking at such a completely different world where the diplomacy that the left cares so much about, diplomacy, it was right there on the table. And yeah, no, never mind. We're going to tell a guy like Putin, no, you're not cool enough for our club. And he went, really?
but
Okay.
But the Putin-Ukraine thing, I just wanted to brush it. We shouldn't even be thinking about that. China is the legitimate threat. China is the legitimate problem. Russia was a problem, but Russia's economy is in the toilet. Russia's in trouble. China is actively engaged in trying to cause us harm. And you look at
How much of the property that's been bought in the USA recently, like how the housing values have exploded recently and they're inflated, and like rent for a house that just 5 years ago that would have been $1,000 and $1,500 a month is now $2,000 a month for the same house. All right, it's still 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And there's a whole lot of people that's like, look, if I could afford $2,000 a month in rent, I wouldn't be a renter. I'd be a homeowner, right? How many of those firms are partially or fully funded by China that's buying up all these houses and trying to rent our own property back to us?
well, not all of them, but
Well, not all of them, but not an insignificant...
some of them are Russian.
Well, I'm just saying, it's not a 0%
No,
either.
it is not. It is a huge number of them. And the sale of the oil is supposed to only happen during an emergency situation. Emergencies, by their very nature, are acute. Right? $5 gas over the course of the administration of the most corrupt politician in American history is not an emergency. It's bad. It's crisis may be the right word, but emergencies are acute, not chronic. It's a problem that needs to be solved right now.
Yeah, you don't have heart attacks long term.
Right. So it was in fact a crime for Biden to even remove oil in this case from the strategic oil reserve. But let's not forget, we're talking about the same Joe Biden that was the vice president when the Obama administration depleted the strategic medical reserves so that
the PPE
and did not refill them. So we didn't have the PPE that we were supposed to have at the beginning of the pandemic.
And then just a Georgia governor understood that, okay, because it's come out now. You know, never mind. I'm not even going to go there. Like, I'm just going to stop. Like, you talked about depleting the PPE and it just, the pandemic and everything about it. We'll just have to come back to that later. I tell you what is kind of fun, and I realize it's tabloid, like gossip level stuff, but you know what? Damn it, it's still fun. Hey, Hunter Biden and Jill Biden do not like each other. In fact, Hunter Biden thinks Jill Biden is a cunt. Said so himself, according to the Fortune. You know what's funny, though? Just a couple of things real quick.
That's fair.
Oh, yeah, no, I never thought I'd agree with Hunter Biden over anything, but there you go. Okay.
I mean,
and look, let's be clear.
Because Mexican women are as diverse as breakfast tacos.
Oh, Lord. Okay. No, you can put chorizo and pico de gallo on your taco. Stop.
We're good.
We're good,
Jill.
We thanks for that.
Nobody wants that morning wood.
Look, and I'm going to be clear. I actually think that she is evil because she's the wife. Most wives have got this thing where they stop their husbands from taking things too far. I would argue it's one of the primary functions of a wife. She's the one that sails in and goes, babe, maybe not. And most successfully married couples.
Somebody's got to stop you from writing a check for the boat.
Exactly. No. Like that joke that's like, well, I'm just going to have my 11th gun. No, you're not. Not right now, at least. Okay, let's get another tax return first. Okay? And she's not done that. She has instead allowed for Joe Biden to utterly humiliate himself. Like, for example, when Jared Schmeck just trolled him. I mean, let's go Brandon.
Yeah.
But Hunter Biden and Jill Biden do not like each other because they both view one another as a parasite leeching off Joe Biden. And you know what? They're correct. They're competition for each other. How shitty is it? In all seriousness, here's a point that I can actually have some sympathy for Joe Biden for. Man's had like 3 children die. Okay? He's had a wife die. And now, here he is at what should be the pinnacle of his life. And he's got Hunter to carry on his legacy. Like, just ouch, man. That's got to be awful. Oh, and then Alex is here. He says, we talked about this Saturday. Hunter is financially tied to Sinopec, which...
And that's where I was going with this. That's part of what's proved. That's part of what's apparently being proved by this document dump, by this...
Your mom says men need someone to protect them from themselves.
Yeah.
You've already had 4 scotches. Yeah, but I could have a 5th, or you could not. Okay, baby, maybe not.
So, yeah.
Sinopec, I'm sorry. That's too much fun.
Yeah, you lost me. I lost my spot. Okay. Sinopec. So, part of what's being proved by the 4chan leak here is that not only is Hunter financially tied to Sinopec, but it looks like Hunter is doing business as his father in some of these cases with Sinopec. So basically you've got China has acquired direct access to the presidency of the United States of America and is manipulating that presidency to drain our strategic resources and weaken the United States ahead of God knows what. And part of that God knows what is going to include China attacking Taiwan.
Well, attack Taiwan. They basically already have it surrounded. Do they even... Your mom says 3 children die. I know about a little girl and Bo. I thought that Joe Biden had 2 daughters die in that car accident about 30 years ago. I could be incorrect.
I think it was just one.
It could just be the wife and the wife and the daughter, which is still terrible. Of course, the ones that lived can tell you stories about showers that...
Yeah.
But that hadn't been confirmed.
No, there's the only piece of evidence is the confidential diary of the victim that testifies to the fact.
Yeah. So anyhow, let me just correct myself live. It happens. It happens.
It does.
Twitcherbait, which is a fantastic name, says Hunter's laptop was fake news anyways. It never happened. The video of... The video of him weighing drugs is actually Robert Downey Jr. You gotta love Twitch. Gotta love Twitch.
Oh, okay. I think that's all we've got time for this morning.
If we had more time, we could just riff on this one forever. Look, one more time, let me just make this point clear. We knew this, okay?
Yeah.
You knew this. We all knew this before we went and voted in the most safe and secure election ever in 2020. We knew this. We knew this family was corrupt as fuck. We knew it. But a whole bunch of the normies didn't because, well, it was just a verboten social media topic. If you post this unverified rumor on Twitter, you're going to get suspended from Twitter, bastards. And there's enough people that had they known just how potentially dirty Joe Biden was, they wouldn't necessarily have crossed and voted for Trump, but they would have stayed home and protest. And when you're talking about, you can say that Joe Biden won by a landslide, or you can really drill down into the data. And what Joe Biden really did was win by some thin margins in all the states he needed to win by thin margins. You start talking about 1% to 2% of people staying home and just not voting for Biden whatsoever, Trump is still the president. And if these people will lie to you about the kind of thing that would put you or I or anybody else in jail for 20 years, minimum, ask General Flynn what happens when you're accused of peddling influence outside of legal channels.
And you're not a Democrat.
And you're not a Democrat, right? Ask him. But no, this is all fine. This is all fine. No, take your victory lap, okay? All those people that voted for Biden because the orange man is so bad, we've got to, golly, you know, it's like having cancer in your fingers. Sometimes you just got to chop off the whole hand, okay? It's just that terrible. Remind them that they voted for a senile old man that when he was functioning at 100% capacity appears to be one of the most corrupt politicians in modern politics. And maybe it's just got something to do with the fact that he's been in that town for 40-something years before he ever walked into the White House for the second time. So take your victory lap.
By running for the presidency for the third time.
So take your victory lap. Rub it in their faces a little bit. If they defriend you on Facebook and stay in their own personal echo chamber, you can't control that. Okay? But you got to try.
But also, you don't need those people in your life.
You got to try. You just got to try. That's right. Lieutenant Adam Baum, and good morning, says, we all knew they were corrupt as fuck. Yes, we knew. He and I knew. You knew. But how many of those 81 million super secure awesome votes knew just how corrupt the Biden family was? They didn't know. They watch the 6 o'clock news and think they're getting the whole picture. And the 6 o'clock news didn't bother talking about the Hunter Biden laptop until after 2020 was over. But they'll totally tell you all about the insurrection on January 6th.
Yeah. The armed insurrection where nobody had a gun.
Where the only person that was killed was a protester.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
That's all we got.
that's all we got.
We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Y'all be safe out there.